Hi, this is Connor from Omni. I wanted to show you our data input functionality, which lets you add data into Omni to analyze. You can upload CSV or Excel files, or just copy and paste values directly into Omni. And for anything that's particularly useful, you can write it back to your data warehouse or promote it to your shared model within Omni for broader use. And for admins, don't worry, you can control who has permissions to do this. Okay, I'm going to show you 3 use cases for data input. The first use case is comparing some sales projections that we've done in a spreadsheet to some data that we have in Omni. So often these forecasts and projections are done in spreadsheets somewhere else, but it's really easy to bring them into Omni and analyze it alongside the data that we have in our data warehouse. So I can just go ahead and copy and paste this data. And in Omni, I'm in a blank source tab, so this lets me input data directly. And I can just paste that data right in. Omni's recognized that this month field is a date field. I'm just going to go ahead and specify the actual date format so Omni knows exactly how to interpret it. And then I'll hit Save Changes. I'll call this 2024 forecast. We'll give that a second to upload. Awesome. And then I'm just going to pop this into a query tab so that we can see the results a bit better. And this will make it easy to bring in this data to another tab, which I'll show you in a second. So I'm going to pop open this 2024 performance tab. I've already started my analysis. So I'm looking at the number of opportunities we had in each month last year. And let's say I want to bring in the forecast numbers now. So I can go ahead and insert a column to the right. And since I'm just doing this one-off kind of join, it's much easier for me to just do an XLOOKUP here rather than a formal join. So I'll just do XLOOKUP. I'll grab A1, compare that to the month column in the forecast tab, and then I'm going to grab the third column, which I know has the opportunities forecasts. There we go. There's our data, and I'll just call this opportunity forecast. And then if I want to just do a quick percent to goal metric, I can insert another column to the right, and I'll just do equals B1 divided by C1. There we go. And then I'll make that a percentage, decrease the decimal points a bit here to make it easier to see, and then I'll just call this percent to goal. If I wanted to visualize that really quick, I can pop into the chart view. Omni's started us off with a line chart here, but it's probably a bit easier to see as a bar chart. So I'll do a bar chart. I'll get rid of the percent to goal bar, and then I'll just add that as a data label actually. So I'll add a data label and then select the field as percent to goal. And there we go. There's our percentage to goal against our forecast. It was really quick and easy to bring that data in from our spreadsheet and connect it to the data from our data warehouse. The second use case I want to show you is enriching some lead lists that we have in our database with some data that we get from an external vendor. So let's say your company has sponsored a conference or an event and you've gotten the list of attendees from the vendor. We can bring that into Omni with data input and then analyze it alongside the rest of our lead data. So I'm going to go ahead and pop open this blank table, and I can just easily drag in that CSV of event attendance check-ins. We'll see that list of names and their check-in timestamp. I can just save this table. I'll just call it event attendance, and we'll give that a second to upload. There we go. Then I can go into my original query where I've already pulled a list of leads in my database, and from here I'm going to define a join so that I can see which of these leads attended that event. So I can just go to our joins module, can do all this in the UI. I'll grab the user's full name and I'll join that on the event attendance full name. Don't have to worry about these for right now. I'll hit add, and then I'll see that event attendance table pop up in my left-hand field picker. From here, I can just grab full name and check-in timestamp just to check that everything's all good here. Give that a second to run. There we go, looks good. And it might be helpful here to have just a Boolean field telling us if they attended this event or not. So just to make things simpler, I'm going to use our Calcs AI feature, and I'll just ask it to give me a Boolean field that returns true if the lead has a check-in timestamp, and false if not. Awesome. So it says it's giving us false if they don't have a check-in timestamp, true if it does. Great. From here, I'm noticing though that this Aaron Allison, who I saw in the original sheet, didn't get a check-in timestamp. If I go back to the original source tab, I see that there is an errant period in here. Happens to the best of us. So I can go ahead and save that change. It's really quick and easy for me to just make that edit, hit save changes. There we go. Then I'll pop back into my original tab and we'll see that Aaron Allison now has a check-in timestamp. From here, I can actually make this field a little more usable beyond just doing that quick calculation. So I'm going to hit promote to workbook. And now it's in this left-hand field picker, so I can select it just like any other field. It might be useful to do some quick analysis on it. Like I could say, like how many leads out of all leads came from this event. I could pivot the data by this, grab leads count, and then just do like a quick calculation here. I could just do percent of row. And we'll see not many, but 0.3% of all of the total leads we've ever had came from that event. If I wanted to just grab the list of IDs also from that event, I could just grab the ID field and then filter for where check-in status is true. So here we see it's really easy to just grab a CSV, upload it into Omni, and then make edits on the fly as you see fit, and then actually use that to analyze and act on your data. The last use case I want to walk you through is an operational workflow that one of our solutions engineers, Jade, came up with. So let's say you're an inventory manager at an e-commerce brand and you're analyzing the sales of your products by category. And you want to be able to assign category managers to each of these categories based on how much they're selling. You might have a spreadsheet that looks something like this, where you're taking a list of the categories, assigning a category manager based on some criteria, and you can kind of codify that criteria into some inequalities and the actual amount to compare it to. So from here, I've already brought in this data into Omni, so I just want to go ahead and define a join that'll allow me to define these category managers when they meet the criteria. So I can go ahead and open the join UI as I did before. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated, so I'm going to copy and paste in some SQL. It looks a bit complex here, but there's actually not too much going on. We're really just matching on the categories, and also we're checking that one of the criteria was met based on the different inequality conditions. So we're saying if the inequality condition was greater than, then check if the total sale price, so the actual sales done in that category, is greater than the criteria amount. And then we're doing that same logic for the other three inequality criteria. So not too difficult to implement here. And then also make sure to choose category manager criteria as the right join. I'm going to add that in, and we'll see it pop up in our left-hand field picker. And then from here, I can just check that the category manager was assigned correctly, pull up the notes to double check. So yeah, looks like Richard was assigned here because the amount of sales is over 600K. From here, if I wanted to update these criteria at any point, I can just go back to the sheet and then make adjustments. So let's say if I wanted to only assign Richard, actually if it's less than 600K, I can easily do that. I'll save those changes. Great, and then I'll go back to the category managers tab. And there we see Richard isn't assigned anymore. So from here, if this category manager criteria is useful beyond just Omni, maybe you're pulling it into some inventory management, but you want to be able to edit it in Omni, you can actually easily write this back down to your database. So if I were to go here, hit modeling, hit promote, that'll push this data back to my database. And then if at any point I wanted to change that data in Omni, I can go in here and edit, hit save changes, and then that data will be pushed back down to my database. The one other cool thing I wanted to point out here is that we can make this really actionable and create an alert that'll tell us whenever a new category manager is assigned or someone is removed. So we're going to change this query just to be a bit simpler, where we can just see the category and the category manager. A second to run. There we go. And then I'm going to pop open the dashboard view. So we'll see that we added this tile for category managers. I'll go ahead and publish this, and then we can set an alert. So I'll hit alert here. We have a few options of where to send this alert. I'm going to send it just to email. And I'll just say, yeah, if this, check this tile, and if the results have changed, so a new category manager is assigned or someone is taken off, send me an email, and I'll just say, category managers have changed. Please check the list. And there we go, we can set that alert. And this is cool because it lets us create these dynamic criteria for assigning category managers and then connect that to live data from our database. So as the sales changes and we get that data live from our database, we can immediately assign new category managers and then be alerted when something has changed. So those are 3 ways to use data input in Omni, and there are so many more. You can bring in data from virtually anywhere, analyze it in Omni, and then write back whatever is useful down to your database. If you'd like to try this out on your own data, please reach out to us. We would love to show you more.